Hi. Have you ever heard somebody say that it's in the Bible that it's better to cast your seed into the belly of a whore than to spill it on the ground? Well, that's nowhere in the Bible, but I can tell you where somebody supposedly got the idea that of that saying. It's from Genesis chapter 38. It's talking about Jacob's son Judah, who he basically went on and started his own family, and this is during a time when Jacob's son Joseph was taken into Egypt to work for Potiphar, the captain of the guard, and later was thrown into prison, and then became the governor of Judah for interpreting correctly the Pharaoh's dreams. Anyway, starting with verse 1. And it came to pass at that time that Judah went down from his brethren and turned into a certain Adullamite, whose name is Hira. And Judah saw there a daughter of a certain Canaanite, whose name was Shua, and he took her and went in unto her. And she conceived and bore a son, and he called his name And she conceived again and bore a son, and she called his name Onan. And she yet again conceived and bore a son, and called his name Shelah. And he was at Kezib, where she bore him. And Judah took a wife for his firstborn, whose name was Tamar. And Judah's firstborn, was wicked in the sight of the Lord, and the Lord slew him. And Judah said unto Onan, Go in unto your brother's wife, and marry her, and raise up seed for your brother. And Onan knew that the seed should not be his, and it came to pass when he went in unto his brother's wife that he spilled it on the ground, lest that he should give seed to his brother. And the thing which he did displeased the Lord, wherefore he slew him also. Then said Judah to Tamar his daughter-in-law, Remain a widow at your father's house until Shelah my son be grown. For he said, Lest peradventure he die also, as his brethren did. And Tamar went and dwelt in her father's house. In the process of time, the daughter of Shelah, Judah's wife, died, and Judah was comforted and went up unto his sheep shearers to Timnath, he and his friend Hira the Adullamite, and was told Tamar, saying, Behold, your father-in-law goes up to Timnath to shear his sheep. And she put her widow's garments off from her, and covered herself with a veil, and wrapped herself, and sat in an open place, which is by the way to Timnath. For she saw that Shelah was grown, and she was not given unto him to, to wife. When Judah saw her, he thought her to be a harlot, because she had covered her face. And he turned unto her by the way, and said, Go to, I pray you, let me come in unto you. For he knew not that she was his daughter-in-law. And she said, What will you give me that you may come in unto me? And he said, I will send you a kid from the flock. And she said, Will you give me a pledge until you send it? And he said, What pledge shall I give you? And she said, Your signet and your bracelets and your staff that is in your hand. And he gave it her, and came in unto her, and she conceived by him. And she arose and went away, and laid by her veil from her, and put on the garments of her widowhood. And Judah sent the kid by the hand of his friend the Adullamite to receive the pledge from the woman's hand, but he found her not. Then he asked the men of that place, saying, Where is the harlot that was openly by the wayside? And they said, There was no harlot in this place. And he returned to Judah and said, I cannot find her. And also the men of that place said that there was no harlot in this place. And Judah said, Let her take it to her, lest we be shamed. Behold, I sent this kid, and you have not found her. And it came to pass about 3 months later, 3 months after, that it was told Judah, saying, Tamar, your daughter-in-law, has played a harlot, and also, behold, she is with child by whoredom. And Judah said, Bring her forth, and let her be burnt. And when she was brought forth, she said to her father-in-law, saying, by the man whose these are am I with child? And she said, discern, I pray you, whose are these, the signet and bracelet and staff. The signet and bracelets and staff. And Judah acknowledged him. He said, she has been more righteous than I, because that I gave her not to Shelah my son. And he knew her again no more. And it came to pass in the time of her travail, that behold, twins were in her womb. And it came to pass when she travailed, that the one put out his hand, and the midwife took and bound upon his hand a scarlet thread, saying, this came out first. And it came to pass, as he drew back his hand, that behold, his brother came out, and she said, how have ye broken forth? This breach be upon you. Therefore his name is called Phares. And afterward came out his brother that had the scarlet thread upon his hand, and his name was called Zerah. Now, those scriptures right there are talking about Judah, his sons, and his daughter-in-law Tamar. And his first son was wicked in the sight of the Lord. Doesn't say how exactly. My guess is that he was probably abusive toward his wife, and God slew her. And then, Onan was told by his father to go in unto his brother's wife and to raise up seed for for for, for her, and of course, Onan realized that the seed will not be his, so he wouldn't inherit. So he wouldn't seed wouldn't inherit anything from him. So he ended up committing what is called coitus interruptus. Um, basically, basically he spilled his semen on the ground, and Lord saw that what he did was wicked, and this was basically done with a wicked intent to deny Tamar child. And therefore, the Lord slew him also, and then Judah kept kept just remaining some Shelah from marrying Tamar, because that was his remaining child. And so Tamar became lived as a widow in her father's house, and then later on Judah's wife died, and I mean Tamar was yearning for a child, and she got to the point where she disguised herself as a harlot, and ended up having one night stand with her father-in-law Judah, and she disguised herself as a harlot, so her father-in-law didn't know who she was, and she collected some things as collateral from him, to show this is the father of my child, and she later proves it when she was accused of playing the harlot, and having children through harlotry, and that's pretty much the entire story right there. And well, I hope you have a good day, and God bless you.